Hey everyone, I'm Eric Leadhams from That Mountain Life, where I make videos to encourage and inspire people to get outside and embrace adventures. Earlier today, while I was working with CAST and learning about how invasive species are affecting biodiversity here in the Creston Valley, the GLOWS team got in touch with Marc, a lead biologist who worked on an important project here with leopard frogs.
Yeah, there's lots of equipment to carry when you're a biologist. Not always close to the vehicle, so I brought my net, my most precious thing, binoculars. I'm a wildlife biologist, took applied zoology at McGill University in Montreal. I moved out west just after I finished my degree and worked here for a little while. I did a master's degree in environment and management at Royal Roads University on Vancouver Island. I live here in Wendell. I've been in the valley for 25 years and just loved it. I just love it. The wildlife management area was actually created in 1968, and it was I think it was the first wildlife management area in the province that was created, and it was established primarily to conserve waterfowl. So I guess with the amount of reclamation that was taking place in the valley here since the 1930s, some people got concerned that the habitat for waterfowl was disappearing. Over time it kind of evolved, and now we do conservation work for waterfowl and also for species at risk and other species of importance. The wildlife area is about 17,000 acres in size, or 7,000 hectares, and just to put in perspective, Stanley Park in Vancouver is about 1,000 acres, so it's 17 times the size of a Stanley Park, so it's a big area. It was designated as a wetland of international significance under the Ramsar Convention, and it's also an important bird and biodiversity area in Canada, as well as an important reptile and amphibian area in Canada. You see it here? No. Just over here. Just scoop it quickly.
Those are some fast reflexes. Professional frog catcher here. My kids would be so amazed.
So we got some funding from Environment and Climate Change Canada in August of 2019, and we had applied as a consortium of basically a group of biologists in the Kootenay under the umbrella of the Kootenay Connect project. And as part of that grant last fall, we came in here, reopened, or like sort of cleaned up a bunch of channels to improve hydrology. And so we have a big network of people that are involved to try to save this population. This is part of a road motorized access restriction to conserve or preserve or protect the Northern Leopard Frogs. This endangered species that is federally listed lives in this area only in BC. The breeding habitat is on this side of the road, and their overwintering habitat is on that side of the road. Because it's such a precarious population, this is a good way to increase their population by reducing mortality. So there's a field crew that spends quite a bit of time here to locate frogs in the spring, like locate egg masses, and then they come back at this time of year and try to capture some of these frogs. They'll put sometimes pit tags, so they're basically tiny little chips they will insert into the frog, and then you can have a scanner and read. So it helps find out, population sizes.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. It's been a long journey, but I spent a lot of time outdoors when I grew up. Luckily we lived at the edge of the city, and there was a lot of outdoor space that we could explore. I want to be a mechanical engineer. I always kind of dreamt of working on cars. But unfortunately it didn't work out. And then I switched and decided to go in applied zoology. After I completed it, I decided to come out west because I always wanted to see the Rocky Mountains. The first year I worked with a bunch of researchers that were working here on research project from Simon Fraser University, and basically made contacts. And I think that's really an important part of becoming a professional biologist, is to make sort of create your own little network of people that you work with, and basically that's kind of how I got my first job. Another important part of getting work too is volunteering. Don't be afraid to volunteer. People like to see how you work, so if you're a dedicated worker, it will get picked up quite quickly by an employer.
If there was one thing that you would want more people to know about the importance of wetlands and the effect on biodiversity, what would that be?
Well, I think one thing, I think we should have more wetlands. Wetlands have disappeared right across the planet, and you know, it's kind of disheartening to see at the rate that these wetlands are converted. A lot of time, you know, these wetlands are perceived as wasteland, and in fact they probably harbor some of the highest biodiversity, you know, anywhere in the world. They play an tremendous importance, you know, in regulating life cycles for a number of species, and for human beings too. Like, they control floods, you know, they grow food. There's numerous, you know, benefits that we get from wetlands, and to see it disappear at the rate it's disappearing is sometimes discouraging. So I'd like to see more wetlands, if anything. I have a number of apps that I really like to use on my phone. I'm a big fan of eBird, so that's a bird app. You can enter all your sightings in there. I just sort of recently discovered iNaturalist, and that's also a great app. You can load up pictures in there, and it'll actually suggest, you know, what species it might be. If you're looking at a plant, you don't know what it is, it'll suggest some different species from different places and the areas around where you're looking at them. There's a great number of apps that will help you learn in the field. So it's just about practice, you know, get out there, look at things, try to find out what they are. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You'll never learn everything there is to learn out in nature.
So I just finished up here with Mark. He showed me what he does as a field biologist here in Duck Lake, part of the Creston Valley Wildlife Management Area. He's kind of like a frog whisperer. You're like the frog whisperer.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming out. It was great to be able to show you, you know, sort of a little portion of what I do. And it's a great project. It's been going on for, like I said earlier, 19 years, and we had great successes, and we hope it's going to continue.
This is a lot of fun. I'm used to making videos of my kids adventuring outside. I think I'm going to create myself a new job, and my job's going to be following people around on cool jobs and just document them. We'll see. It was really neat hanging out with Mark and seeing what he does as a biologist. I think the biggest take home for me was just remembering how important wetlands really are to biodiversity on the planet. Thanks again to the Kootenay Association of Science and Technology and the program GLOWS for inviting me to host another episode of BiodiversiTV. Be sure to visit them online at www.cast.com/GLOWS to learn more information about their youth and education programs.